something a little different this time. Maybe you noticed when you saw the picture there. What is happening here? It's not a short film. It is not a movie like I usually review. This is kind of a short story, and what is exactly happening here is from a YouTube channel called Monstrous Tales. Um, it is, just to be clear and to disclaim everything off the top here, it is a YouTube channel that I help promote via promotehorror.com. We've done a couple of promotions for them. So, in kind of adding to the promotions and to further help the channel, I kind of agreed to do a review of one of these stories here. So, just to kind of get that out of the way and be all clear here at the top. So, yeah, the channel is called Monstrous Tales, and they kind of focus on short stories, dark fantasy, obviously stuff with monsters and creatures of that, but utilizing AI. So I'll admit that this was probably the first time I've really sat and watched a complete episode, a short story, or so forth, featuring AI. So this was a kind of fresh experience, a new experience for me. I really didn't know everything that what I was going to expect. Kind of had some ideas, but, not really sure. And not sure how they were going to present it either. So definitely interesting. Obviously I had seen some of the videos or parts of some of the videos in preparation for promoting it, but this is the first time I really sat down and watched a whole story from the beginning to the end, and definitely with the intent on kind of reviewing it or sharing my thoughts on it. So, it's one thing to kind of just look at it from thinking that you're going to promote it, and then a whole different ballgame when you're going to actually have to review it. So with that, the story that I'm focusing on here, if you head over to their channel, and I'll have all that information down below, where you can find it and so forth. And obviously, if you have troubles doing that, you can always ask me, and I will help you, point you in the right direction. But the story I'm focusing on here is Snowbound, the Troll Banquet. It is one of their more recent stories that they've done, and definitely an interesting one here. I'm going to kind of read you a little bit of the description here, and then I'll talk about a little bit about what's happening. On a frigid December night in Norway, a desolate highway becomes the stage for a horrifying series of events. A sudden snowstorm traps travelers in a chilling nightmare, but things take a sinister turn when mysterious figures emerge from the darkness. As Anna desperately searches for her son, she uncovers a world of trolls, terror, and twisted feast. Oof. Join us as we delve into the heart of darkness in Snowbound, the Troll Banquet, Part 1, where reality and supernatural collide in a bone-chilling tale of survival and despair. All right, well written and well said. Another note, this is part one. I'm going to mention the whole thing, but this is part one. It is part one of two. So if you do click on to watch it, it does prompt you to watch the second part, and I encourage you to watch the second part for the whole story. I don't remember how long part two was, but part one, I believe, was about 24 minutes or so, give or take. I'm not sure if part two is the same. So that kind of gives you an idea, planning ahead if you're going to watch this, what we're looking at here. So yeah, just kind of quick on the story. It kind of, it is what it said. A group of people, traveling on the highway, get stuck, and all these cars are kind of there piled up. Some are crashed, some are just in the traffic mess, and basically they're perceived to be attacked by a huge horde of trolls. And these trolls come and kill some people, take some people, and in the process, Anna loses her son, and obviously does what any mother would do, and trolls be damned, goes and tries to find her son, and this leads her on quite the adventure and trail of into the troll world, and where we soon will find out that there's more than just trolls down there. There are some other creatures and so forth. That are having their own issues, and basically the humans are just kind of part of it now. So I don't want to give away the whole story. You know, I guess it's spoiler free in a way. But yeah, Anna's gonna go down there looking for, well, out into the snow, and then later into the troll territory here where the trolls are hanging out. They end up obviously in a banquet hall. That's the banquet part of it, and that plays a role in what's happening here. And in search of her son, and she is going to run into some other things in there besides trolls. And are they friend, are they foe, what is going on here? There's a whole world going on with the trolls here that she's about to see, witness, and be part of, in search of her son, and the audience as well. So a couple of things about it. One, it is not like a movie that you're watching. It is kind of like animated pictures. Like I said, a lot of this is based on AI. I don't know the full workings of how they do it, but definitely some very nice looking, crisp pictures, images, kind of, and then the narrator is kind of describing those pictures. I mean, that's the best way to say it. The narrator is telling a story, and the pictures, guess, telling a little bit about what's in the picture, and but really telling the story, and the pictures are kind of backing that up. I guess that's a better way to say it. So you see things like, obviously, the cars that are crashed. You see the characters. You see when they talk about the trolls. You see a whole bunch of trolls. Obviously the other creatures, and it's kind of some of the pictures will kind of either come at you. They kind of move on the screen as you're going. The actual characters or whatever are not really moving, but the whole picture itself is kind of moving to kind of give it a little bit of movement, animation there to it. But basically, you're watching these pictures go by, and a storyteller, narrator, is kind of telling this whole story. It is most likely an AI or some kind of, it's not a regular person's voice, at least from what I can tell. It's obviously a generated voice that's telling the story. Very crisp, very clear. You can understand everything they're saying. Very well described, using lots of adjectives to describe everything. My only thing is there that it might have repeated, some of the adjective a couple of times, or at least it seemed like it did. So I don't know. I don't know if that's just because of the technology behind it, or the AI that's used, or what, or it just becomes hard to come up with certain words after a while. I don't know. But I guess, that's the only thing, about it. Otherwise, it's a very clear voice. You can understand everything they're saying. They're very, they're graphic when it has to be, nothing, extreme, foul language and all that. But definitely making sure that the point. Like, the trolls are very descriptive, how ugly they are and whatever. When there's scenes where I guess people are dying, whatever, they make it clear that people are dying and so forth. So, it is covering its bases there, and so forth. This is, like I said, this was a first time experience for me, watching the whole short story, both part one and part two. So it's definitely interesting, and definitely kind of different than watching the usual short film or regular films that I do. Just kind of seeing snapshots of pictures go by, and the voice. So honestly, it was a little strange, and a little bit different. But I think that there's an audience out there that obviously watches this a lot more than I do, and is probably more used to this. So, but I was intrigued. Like I said, the the pictures were very nice and very clear, and so you definitely want to look at them, especially when it kind of, when they're showing the trolls and some of these other creatures that are going, is really cool to look at, and look at those creatures and how the designs, are kind of moving there on the screen. It's not really a cartoon, but it's kind of close to it. But they were very nice, very crisp. Kind of fit the snowy atmosphere there, and you know really it was I was kind of concerned, honestly. Am I going to get bored by just watching these pictures? But there's a lot of really nice things to see, and it's not, they're not just boring you, throwing up, all these things. They start by showing the cars and whatever, but whatever. But then, once it kind of gets into that troll world, and you're seeing all these different trolls and creatures and something, and these other things, it was pretty interesting and cool to look at. And it probably went a little bit further than I thought it did with one or two of the things that happened there. And overall, it was a good story, a fun story. Like I said, it kind of, you kind of, as it plays out, I'm thinking, oh, well, this is just trolls, and they're just going to encounter trolls. But then, yeah, it kind of dives into this whole other world where the trolls have some other creatures down there, and what is the interaction between that and the story behind that? Because it seemed just like the typical kind of story. Anna loses a son, goes looks for the son, and ends up with trolls. But there's a lot more going on down there, and you'll find that out, and they do a good job of covering it. And then they kind of give you some twists and turns as the story exits, as we kind of get to the end, and what happens with Anna, and what happens with her son, and what happens to all these trolls and these creatures. There's a little bit of twists and turns there with what's happening. So it is a fun story, a good story, and definitely very interesting to look at, and fascinating. Obviously, this is a new thing for me. I'm not sure that doing seeing this and watching this is for everybody. And I know AI is new, so I'm sure some people get turned off by AI. I know I've seen on Twitter some people are not real pleased with AI introduction into horror, and then I guess films, and people are worried about it taking jobs and whatever. But I think in this circumstance, it works. It works here for this channel, and it's definitely an interesting way to present something a little bit different. So, I wouldn't be too concerned. I don't think it's trying to replace anybody's job. It is putting together a pretty good story here. I don't know how they come up with the story. It is presented all as the channel's ideas, unless otherwise told. So, obviously we all know about trolls, but, they obviously have their own story here. So, if maybe trolls isn't your thing, I encourage you to come to the channel and check out some of the other videos on there, other short stories and so forth. There's several of them to check out, all kinds of different, range of things. I believe there's one with Krampus, and so forth. And I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember the other one that I had looked at part of it when I did the first promotion for them. But yeah, definitely some interesting stuff. It's cool, something different. If you're looking for something outside of reviews and outside of maybe a podcast, maybe this is for you. So I'm not really going to give it my usual pool of blood score at the end, because I don't really have much experience watching and comparing this to much. So I don't want to kind of throw that out there, and sometimes I do that with the short films too. I don't want to give a pool of blood, but hopefully I presented some ideas of what this is, and so forth, and what I liked about it, what I enjoyed about it, and give you an idea of what it's all about. And like I said, if maybe trolls isn't your thing, there's other stories on here to check out. So again, the channel is Monstrous Tales. They have done several videos already, and I'm sure they're in the works with some more. seems like something that probably takes a while to put together. So I definitely encourage you to check them out. Like always say, like, subscribe, and do all those things that everybody wants you to do. But if not, it's okay if AI is not your thing, or maybe these stories aren't your thing. That's fine. But if you do like it, please share, please like. I know some people are iffy about subscribing to things, but if you do truly watch the story and like it, please, give it a like, and send it over to anybody else you think might like it as well. They're also on Twitter, but if you go over to their channel, they have all the information there, and I again will have all of that down below, and including probably links to the promotion that we did for it, so that you guys can definitely know where to find it. And like I said, if for any reason you have trouble finding it, please let me know in the comment section, or Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Promote horror, just message me or whatever, and I will make sure that you get to this video or the appropriate place. And again, we do have two promotions up for it. One you can easily find because it's still there as of me doing this video, up in the top section of the site. And then we have one that we did months ago, so that might be a little bit harder to find, but definitely, again, the links will be down below. So making sure that you guys can find this channel and this story. So with that, I guess I will catch you in the next review, horror fans.